Welcome back, everybody, to the WHAM, the Wrestling Association of the Mid-South, the premier wrestling company in 1932. Not quite, because we are still chasing the biggest company in the world right now, SPW. We've got many challenges to face as we attempt to overthrow SPW, the biggest company, and we are rearing and ready to go as we've already got our first show of the episode booked, and we're ready to just jump right into it, the Fortnite Fisticuffs. We've got a number of pre-show matches for this edition, and we're going to start the night off with Archie Filer going one-on-one with August Washburn. Archie Filer is a new addition to the WHAM, and he has done nothing but impress since he's got here, just a couple months ago. And he picks up another victory here, and he delivers an excellent in-ring performance while he does it. With a 54, August Washburn just gets a 19, and we get a match rating of 39. Another pre-show segment, Archie Filer is caught by Riker Zucker for a quick word. Zucker acknowledges Filer's hot start in the WHAM, but Filer claims he's just getting started. Now we know that Archie Filer does not have the performance abilities to match his great in-ring abilities, so we're going to take advantage of the pre-show angles and try to improve his performance stats with little repercussion. Because as you can see, he just gets a segment rating of 19, even with the help of Riker Zucker. Now, in our next pre-show match, we've got Super Monkey and Jeremy Funderburk teaming up to take on the welcoming crew of Wayne Blankenship and Christopher Hartwell. We know Super Monkey is solid, but we also know that Jeremy Funderburk is very green, very new. He's only 18 years old, and the man has a lot of work to do. As you can see, that he just got an in-ring performance of 21, Super Monkey 36, Christopher Hartwell 29, Blankenship at 22, as Super Monkey and Funderburk pick up the victory with a match rating of 28. Now, as our show actually gets going, we've got Gabriela Suarez and Lee Clem going one-on-one. Lee Clem is still rusty, so I probably shouldn't have brought her to the main show just yet, as she only got an in-ring performance of 16. Gabriela Suarez is a solid worker, but she only got a 30 here. It has been a while since we've seen her in just singles competition, but she picks up a victory here against Lee Clem. Match rating of 23, not the best start to the show. Then moving along into our next match, Bronson Fraley just getting back into the saddle, back into the groove of things, picking up a victory against Brian Hatcher as we basically not reintroduce, but reacclimate Bronson Fraley to a more consistent schedule to get his popularity back up a little bit. Now up next, we've got Neil Allman taking center stage in the ring, microphone equipped. Allman hypes up the coming heavyweight championship match at the Spectacle of Amazing Grapples, which will also be the final of the Derby, as he promises the fans a lively show, but most importantly, a triumph everyone can celebrate. Neil Allman once again becoming heavyweight champion. Neil Allman was superb here, didn't have a script, but he had the crowd in the palm of his hand the entire time. He is our strongest talker, and we've got to give him the opportunities to get these big segment ratings of 55 like you see here. Now moving into our next match, we've got a triple threat between all three members of the Pride. Friedrich Herzog not happy with the shortcomings that he has been seeing and experiencing along with the Pride, Fritz Hattendorf and Oscar Kohler. So this match is made to almost as a bit of discipline or something, so Friedrich Herzog could get his hands on these boys. And you can see here that Friedrich Herzog is just far and away a different competitor than these two guys. Fritz Hattendorf just got a 30, Oscar Kohler a 22, but Friedrich Herzog getting a 49, making for a match rating of 37. And our matches really haven't been that strong tonight, which is a little unfortunate. But we do see Hermenegildo Ramirez and the Great Matsuo going one-on-one, and Hermenegildo Ramirez, of course, getting a victory over the Great Matsuo, who isn't much of an in-ring competitor. He's definitely more of a manager, but he is a very entertaining competitor according to all of the polls that happen in the universe. Hermenegildo Ramirez with an in-ring performance of 45, which is actually certainly not bad, but it is a little low for Hermenegildo. And the Great Matsuo gets a 23. All in all, we get a match rating of 36. And the reason that this match came about is because Hermenegildo Ramirez is basically in line for a junior heavyweight championship shot, but Elijah Mays has not been showing up and continues to blow off his number one contender because he has defeated him in the past. He's successfully defended his championship, and we know that Elijah Mays is much more focused on the heavyweight championship. But after the match, Hermenegildo Ramirez grabs a microphone, laying out a simple message even Matsuo can understand. Elijah Mays, Hermenegildo Ramirez, Junior Heavyweight Championship. And so on the other side of that, Hermenegildo Ramirez is just as persistent as Elijah Mays is dismissive. But he's still not money on the mic. He only gets a segment rating at 25 here. Now our main event, spicing things up, Rohan Marlowe putting his heavyweight championship on the line against Turner Spittler. Now, Turner Spittler may have lost in the Derby, but his unrest, his unwillingness to accept that loss, basically led to a direct challenge to Rohan Marlowe. Rohan Marlowe isn't going to back down. Rohan Marlowe showing his fighting spirit, his unshakable will, and his willingness to just scrap with just about anybody. And because of that, he makes successful defense number 12 of his heavyweight championship as he defeats Turner Spittler while getting an in-ring performance of 51. Spittler had a 41, and together this match rating got a 48. So our main event really saved us here, and that's exactly why we wanted to change our focus to the main event focus. As I've said many times, the Fortnite Fisticuffs shows are to get people some reps, see what they can do, and really allow us to utilize the entire roster without having to potentially risk ratings of our monthly shows. So overall rating of 46, I'm happy with that for this edition of the Fortnite Fisticuffs, and we do increase our popularity in one region. We praise Emilio Suarez, Neil Allman, and Bronson Fraley. We gain $5,000 from this show without broadcasting, and this kind of profit on the Fortnite Fisticuffs is going to allow us to maybe increase that production value that has been penalizing us every show. Maybe it allows us to broadcast every show. It gives us some flexibility and some options. And of course, you see that we go from 38 to 39 here in the Mid-South. So not only do we have Emilio Suarez at risk of not accepting his contract offer, but Gabriela Suarez has decided to walk out on the wham with her apparent unhappiness while being here. Now, she was pretty happy the entire time that she was here, but we had a huge morale dip company-wide, and this is the first palpable casualty of it. The 5-foot, 88-pound scrapper known as Gabriela Suarez. She ended with 22 popularity here in the Mid-South when she left, and, give it a year, and she might be back here, because that 99 charisma is something that I don't want to just say goodbye to forever. So we're going to shortlist her for now, and I'm sure she'll get employed elsewhere. She was on an exclusive handshake contract with us, so she couldn't work with anybody else, so we'll see what she gets into. It will be interesting to see if this has any effect on Chuck Wellington, given that he and Gabriela Suarez actually just recently started dating as well. Very interesting. I think I am going to pull the trigger on upgrading our live event experience to hopefully take away that penalty that we've got for every show. It's going to cost us $2,000 for every night of shows, but we have been clearing decent profit, especially with the Fortnite Fisticuffs. If the broadcasts have to slow down, we'll stay strategic with that, but I want to stay on top of our penalties, because once they start racking up, and we got to work with these morale issues as well, we don't want too many external forces just working against us. I want to stay in control of what I can control. And we are right back into the next event, the next Fortnite Fisticuffs show. And we've got a big show as we prepare for the Spectacle of Amazing Grapples, the biggest event of the year. And not to mention, the final of the 7th iteration of the Derby Heavyweight Championship Tournament. Now, first things first, we've got some pre-show matches, of course. Kuni Hashiguchi and Lee Clem going one-on-one, and it seems that Lee Clem has shaken off the ring rust. She doesn't get penalized for it, which is a good sign. Kuni Hashiguchi with an in-ring performance of 38 in her victory, Lee Clem at 20, and we get a segment rating of 30. It is unfortunate knowing that the women's division has lost Gabriela Suarez, but we are building up a little bit more of a roster there, so things will be okay in the women's division. Another pre-show match, Bronson Fraley and Diego Berrigan going 2-on-2 against Benson Sandy and Gary Cowell, the Pickle Man. And Gary Cowell actually got the best performance of the match at 39. Benson Sandy had a 35, Diego Berrigan at 37, and Bronson Fraley at 35. These numbers are so low because everyone's morale is just awful right now. And we have made some moves to rectify that, and we're going to talk about that after this show. And that show begins with the Dark Carnival in the ring. Bryant Hines has a microphone and is speaking in an eerie tone. Hines claims that the Carnival is willing to forgive Black Demon for his past mistakes and aggressions if he makes the correct decision and joins with them. However, he warns that if Black Demon refuses, he will suffer the consequences. As Hines finished speaking, Black Demon appeared at the curtain, saying nothing, though carrying a defiant demeanor. And not a bad rating, we get 35. Bryant Hines is not bad on the microphone. And the other guys look scary and intimidating, and that's what we're going for, and that's all we asked them to do. So the show got off to a strong start, you love to see it. And we get a nice match to get things going, as well as Hermenegildo Ramirez defeated Yuvraj Tunnel in just over 10 minutes, scoring an in-ring performance of 52 while doing so. Yuvraj Tunnel with an in-ring performance of 45. The man has really changed as an in-ring competitor. However, his sleazeball personality is a direct and major detriment to the locker room, so this will actually be the last appearance on Yuvraj Tunnel's contract. Unfortunate, I really loved what he was putting in the ring, but our backstage atmosphere just can't handle that right now. Match rating of 45. And then we get a segment after that as Elijah Mays storms the ring after the match, coming straight for Hermenegildo. The junior heavyweight champion unleashes an unrelenting attack on Ramirez until he is pulled away by faculty and roster members. Elijah Mays did not appreciate the aggression shown towards his manager, the Great Matsuo, by Hermenegildo Ramirez at the last show, and so this is just a measure of payback, and maybe Hermenegildo Ramirez has gotten the attention of the junior heavyweight champion. Segment rating of 38 in this angle, not bad. We get another good matchup next, and the junior heavyweights, you know they will deliver. We had a triple threat as Joel Cartwright, Albie Dewberry, and Archie Filer all square up, and Joel Cartwright is the one to come out on top. And despite Archie Filer being the one to submit, he actually had the best in-ring performance of the match at 50. In fact, it says he carried the match. Albie Dewberry just getting a 38 and Joel Cartwright just getting a 40. And I think Archie Filer still has okay morale, so that just shows you the effects of having such negative morale. It's really unfortunate, but the boys give us a match rating of 44. You'll love to see that. Up next, we get a decent match between Friedrich Herzog and Fritz Hattendorf. This is more direct punishment, direct resentment from Friedrich Herzog, and just taking out some frustrations on Fritz Hattendorf. Fritz Hattendorf has not been what we thought and hoped that he would be. He still just gets an in-ring performance of 32 here, nothing great, and Friedrich Herzog getting a 51, not the highest that we've seen from Herzog, but we know that there are many factors working against us here right now. We just get a match rating of 38, but Friedrich Herzog cementing his dominance and separating himself a little bit more in terms of in-ring performance and where they are at as superstars with his lackeys. Now our main event, we've got a tag team match between Neil Allman and Super Monkey versus Turner Spittler and Masked Hammer. This has technically happened before, but not in this direct fashion. The last time this match happened, Super Monkey came in during what was a handicap match at that point and evened the odds. This time they just come out, they know it's 2-on-2, it's square up, and Neil Allman and Super Monkey take care of business, once again defeating Turner Spittler and Masked Hammer. And Turner Spittler has gotten the leg up on Neil Allman once or twice, but Neil Allman ultimately has come back and defeated Turner Spittler a couple times over. But Super Monkey has been there every single time, pretty much. And all in all, Super Monkey with an in-ring performance of 38, Neil Allman at 47, and the two heels, Turner Spittler and Masked Hammer, get 41s. And altogether, that gives us a segment rating of 43, and not a bad way to end off the show. Things obviously could be better. I think our ratings could just be a little bit higher, but with these morale penalties, it is what it is. And you can see that we no longer have that production value penalty working against us, so that helps us stay at an overall show rating of 42, not the worst thing in the world, though we don't get any popularity increases from it. And we're going to continue to try to bolster the attitudes and morales of Neil Allman, Turner Spittler, and Hermenegildo Ramirez this time around. Even with the production value increase, we still profit $5,000. Our ticket sales are really carrying us right now. Merchandise isn't looking terrible, and obviously no broadcasting because we didn't broadcast the Fortnite Fisticuffs once again. However, you can see that not only is Emilio Suarez gone from the WAM due to his contract expiring, Fritz Hattendorf and Masked Hammer have also made their last appearances on their contract at this time. I restructured their contracts to give them one last appearance at that last show, but we are going to begin basically an exodus of the negative morales into the locker room. That's not going to include everybody because that would be throwing away some of our top guys. Albie Dewberry has a negative personality. Neil Allman has a negative personality. Turner Spittler is selfish. I'm not willing to dump every negative personality. However, there are some other ones like, I don't know, Benson Sandy doesn't have the best personality, which would be unfortunate. Gary Cowell, I'm really on the fence about this one because he's an absolute detriment to the locker room. But it's Pickle Man, dude. Like, it's tough, basically. There are a few different people that I'm just not entirely sure on, and we're just gonna continue to make some decisions there. Like Black Bull has a prickly personality, the same kind that Fritz Hendorf, and that got him unloaded. However, I see Black Bull as someone who's a lot more valuable to the company than Fritz Hendorf was. So decisions will have to be made as we continue to attempt to alleviate this backstage morale, because you can see here, it is not good. It's no longer abysmal, which is good, though it's still very poor morale. With Emilio Suarez gone, we don't have that natural tension between he and Diego Bergen that wasn't doing us any favors, but you can see we've got a laundry list of negative influences in the locker room. And all of these names are not going to be here when it's all said and done. Just what those names are is going to be the hard part. I will say this though, I already decided, I didn't use him in the last show, but Christopher Hartwell is also looking at one more appearance on his contract thanks to his sleazy attitude. So we're unloading about 5 or 6 negative personalities just in the span of about 21 days. And we're doing what we can, but I'm not going to go overboard with throwing everybody off my roster. But there is going to be some serious turnover, I will say that. And we've got one more edition of the Fortnite Fistcuffs before the spectacle of amazing grapples. And our pre-show match tonight is a 5-lady free-for-all featuring all of our new or newer additions to the women's division, to the exception of maybe Ivy Baldridge, considering how much you consider her tenure here in the WAM. And we would see Ivy Baldridge actually come out on top against Layla Pascal, Sloan Knutson, Lee Clem, and Veronica Lutter. And Veronica Lutter had the best performance of the ladies at 37. She is clearly the class of this new hall, of this new age, the new generation of ladies that are coming into the WAM. Of course, Kuni Hashiguchi is still darn good in the ring as well. Ivy Baldridge got a 25, Lee Clem got a 24, Sloan Knutson 18, and Layla Pascal with a 12. And you can see just some of the hierarchy is getting established as far as in-ring performances and competitors go. But all in all, we get some good information from these ladies. Another pre-show match, junior heavyweight tag team action as Joel Cartwright and Super Monkey take down the Pickle Man and Jeremy Funderburk. This might be the funnest team here in the WAM. And we really just wanted to make sure we didn't leave these guys off the card, continue to get them reps, continue to let them establish themselves a little bit, even with their poor morales affecting their performances. Super Monkey with another 38, Joel Cartwright at 45, setting the pace for the match. Jeremy Funderburk was off his game and only got a 20, Gary Cowell with a 39. Not bad work from our resident troublemaker. But Joel Cartwright, he is a good competitor. He's a multi-time junior heavyweight champion, and he's not going to let us forget about him, that's for sure. But they get a match rating of 36 as we prepare to start the actual show. And our first show of the night, Turner Spittler and Kitahachi Kukui. 2 heavyweights going one-on-one. 2 participants of the Derby tournament, though they didn't make it to the finals. Kitahachi Kukui still relatively new to the fans here in the WAM, and Turner Spittler is an established name. He picks up the victory here with an in-ring performance of 34. Kitahachi Kukui, though, not bad work, getting a 31, and this match together gets a rating of 31. Now we get a 3-on-3 match. We get some trios competition as the Dark Carnival is back in the saddle, in the ring, between the ropes, going up against Chris Brownfield, Wayne Blankenship, and Diego Bergen. And the Dark Carnival would pick up the victory here off the back of some nice performances. Black Bull up at a 40, Blue Mage had a 39, as well as Craig Bean. Now on the other side, Diego Bergen had a 32, Wayne Blankenship down at 22, and Chris Brownfield only got a 24. Brownfield and Blankenship, worth noting that they do have good personalities, so they're not a part of the cuts, even though they aren't exactly the best in-ring competitors. Match rating of 33 here. Our next match, Bronson Fraley back in the ring with Benson Sandy going one-on-one, and Benson Sandy, he had the better in-ring performance in the match, but Bronson Fraley, of course, coming away with the victory. It's hard to get a gauge of where these guys are at when their moods are so trash. Obviously, you know, when everyone has trash moods, it levels the playing field a little bit, but I know this is not standard of what these guys can do. Match rating of 36 here, and brighter days are ahead. Now we get a handicap match for our next match. Woodrow Gunter and Sebastian Morales find themselves competing against the Wellington Dynasty, Chuck, Angus, and Duke. Chuck is turning into a nice performer with an in-ring performance of 35, Duke Wellington down at 23, and Angus Wellington, of course, is an 18, an underwhelming competitor that surprises no one. Match rating of 36 here, and Woodrow Gunter and Sebastian Morales unfortunately just couldn't carry it to a better rating, though Friedrich Herzog has not had a good performance at Road Agent pretty much ever recently, so that is really unfortunate and certainly doesn't help our case. Now, our main event, we came a little bit better, able to hopefully raise our overall show performance, but we've got Archie Filer going one-on-one with the junior heavyweight champion, Elijah Mays, and Elijah Mays even put his championship up on the line as a little bit of cockiness, kind of a fuck you to Hermenegildo Ramirez a little bit, considering that he hasn't faced Archie Filer before, and Archie Filer actually came in with an in-ring performance of 42, very good, but Elijah Mays only had an in-ring performance of 36. Fortunately, we still got a match rating of 41 for our main event, which is the most crucial part of our show. And Archie Filer was really off of his game and he still got a 42. That says a lot about our boy Archie Filer. Now, the final segment of the show has Riker Zucker bringing Rahan Marlowe and Neil Allman into the ring for an official weigh-in ahead of the Derby final. Both men play to the crowd, though Neil Allman just can't help himself and snatches the microphone away from Riker Zucker. Allman then goes on to confidently claim that the Wham will have a homegrown talent ready to represent them properly. Rahan Marlowe doesn't back down, but feels no need to take things any further. As he turns his back, Allman strikes the champion down with the mic. Allman uses Riker Zucker to keep distance from the champion, though he's acting as if he's inviting a fight with Rahan Marlowe. So Neil Allman, getting a little big-headed, takes a measure to strike down Rahan Marlowe, acting as if he wants a fight, but strategically keeping Riker Zucker between the two, so Rahan Marlowe doesn't actually retaliate, and we just get some build for our heavyweight championship match, and the boys take us home with another segment rating of 40. All in all, only get an overall rating of 37. Our show was hurt by having some pre-show equipment issues. It ultimately lost us some popularity in the Mid-South, I'm guessing, as this one region. And the morale issues are continuing to affect our shows and our ratings, and now it's starting to affect our overall fan popularity, which is unfortunate. And I don't think telling people that they're awesome is going to fix this, but we do praise Neil Allman, Bronson Fraley, and Friedrich Herzog. Even by broadcasting the show, and it's just a Fortnite Fisticuffs, we're still profiting $1,700. That's a good sign for the financial stability of the Wham, but you do see that we do lose some popularity in the Mid-South. Very unfortunate. Now we're getting ready to jump right into the Spectacle of Amazing Grapples 1932, the biggest event of the year. However, there's one pit stop I want to make before we do that. We've been making good money, and we profited $5,000 as a whole last month. So try to save this poor show rating that we're going to get due to everyone's bad morales. We're going to dish out some monetary bonuses to hopefully turn around the morale of some of our big names that we're really going to rely on. The first one being Neil Allman. This man is going to main event the show. He's going to headline the night, so we need him to be in a good mood more than anything. So we just gave him a $1,000 bonus. It changed nothing. We're going to try a $2,000 bonus, and it boosted his morale, but he's still annoyed. This man cannot be saved. And we do have a character idea that we will try to use. It failed, so that just backfired on us. We're going to need to spend even more money now. Let's try $2,500. He's still annoyed. We can't shake this man. Fortunate that his contract is ongoing, so we never have to actually worry about it expiring right now. But I am committed to turning this thing around for Neil Allman because he is our main event man. I need him to have a good performance. There we go. It cost us about $8,000, but we finally got Neil Allman into a good morale to hopefully allow him to deliver a jaw-dropping main event. And that was a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be, so we're not going to be able to do anybody else beyond that, so I'll see you on the other side. And here we are. We have made it to yet another edition of the Spectacle of Amazing Grapples, the Wrestling Association of the Mid-South's biggest event of the year, and we've got a big show. Not everyone backstage is super happy about it, but we're going to put on one hell of a wrestling show, and we've got a few pre-show matches to get us started. Benson Sandy and Gary Cowell in tag team action going up against Kitahachi Kukui and Jeremy Funderburk, and Kitahachi Kukui actually picked up the victory here in this one, and getting a little bit of momentum for one of our fresher faces. Jeremy Funderburk is still learning the ropes a little bit. Just an in-ring performance of 20, though he was really off of his game, so we think it'd be better. Normally, Gary Cowell and Benson Sandy got a 35 and 38 respectively. Kukui got a 34, so not terrible work, though I think this is just a precursor to the fact that Sandy and Gary Cowell are not in the 40s. The morale is still going to be an issue. Got another pre-show match, and we've got the debut of Rocco Lockwood, a positive personality to add to the heavyweight backstage locker room, and he's getting introduced to the Wham by taking a loss against the Wellington Dynasty boys. Rocco Lockwood only got an in-ring performance of 14, though he was rusty, so I would believe that he will eventually become a better in-ring competitor than the Wellington boys at least. But he doesn't have terrible stats, at least in the in-ring performance, and he's got a really positive personality, and that's just something that we need to contribute to turn things around here. So just a match rating of 24 as the Wellington boys pick up another victory, though Chuck Wellington did get an in-ring performance of 32. Another pre-show match, another tag team match, featuring the ladies this time. They're all considered unimportant, so it just wouldn't make sense to put them on the main card, or else I would have at least gotten Kuni Hashiguchi on the main card, plus Veronica Lutter's actually working at a different company tonight, so she was not available. But we do see the team of Ivy Baldridge and Kuni Hashiguchi come out on top, as Kuni Hashiguchi is the one to carry the match and get the pinfall victory. She got an in-ring performance of 40, Ivy Baldridge at 28, Sloan Knutson at 17, and Lee Clem at 24, so the ladies are getting a little bit better. Now our show is ready to really get going, and we've got Bronson Fraley, Turner Spittler going one-on-one until the emergence of another new heavyweight, Matus Scarborough, makes his way and makes his first appearance here into the Wham. He's primarily been a TWA competitor, getting a lot of work in tag team wrestling, but he is here, he inserts himself into this big heavyweight match, and he does a good job. He's a good performer with a decent amount of popularity as well, so he should be able to just be a plug-and-play insert right into the Wham, much like Archie Filer was. Matus Scarborough gets a performance of 36, Bronson Fraley gets a 37, and Turner Spittler gets a 39, as he is actually the one to come out on top of this triple threat. We get a match rating of 38. Our next match, big junior heavyweight tag team action, and the junior heavyweights always deliver, and we even have gotten the return of RT Lincoln. RT Lincoln is back in the Wham with his professional personality type, and he has really grown as a competitor since he left the Wham the first time, so I think he will be a prominent player in the junior heavyweight division, as we see the third addition to the Wham roster make their appearance here at the Spectacle of Amazing Grapples. Now Archie Filer back to his great form of an in-ring performance of 50, Albie Dewberry had a 39, RT Lincoln had a 46, great job from the boy, and Joe Cartwright had a 42. Altogether, these junior heavyweights put a match rating of 45, very nice. We get another good match, two heavyweights that have just been working, and we've hit a little bit of a creative wall with both of these guys. Sebastian Morales and Woodrow Gunter are both very good workers, both very stout, solid, reliable competitors with good personalities to contribute to the backstage morale as well. I just haven't been able to find something interesting for them to do after they've both made cases to be heavyweight champion, but ultimately fell short. So if you have any burning ideas for Sebastian Morales or Woodrow Gunter, leave them down in the comments. I'd love to see what you think and maybe we can implement it. Now we've got our next segment, the Dark Carnival and Black Demon. I won't lie, I'm not entirely sure how the multi-part angles exactly work as far as a presentation perspective, because I wanted to show you the bit from the first one before the second one started, but whatever. Bryant Hines summons Black Demon down to the ring, ready for Black Demon to become a part of the Dark Carnival. However, Black Demon reiterates his defiance by once again striking down Bryant Hines, making it unmistakably clear that Black Demon will not be joining the faction. This time, the Dark Carnival would retaliate, brutalizing Black Demon, taking turns hitting finishers and laying in impactful strikes. This went on until Black Demon had absolutely no fight left, unable to move or defend himself. The Carnival would pick up the lifeless body, carrying him off to the back. So part 1 was just Hines and Black Demon speaking with one another, and then part 2 is the beatdown from the Dark Carnival boys. And if you may have not been able to piece it together, Black Demon, by not joining the Dark Carnival, this will be his last appearance in the WAM. His troublemaker personality is too much of a detriment to the locker room. He hasn't really came through in the way that I was hoping for. He's just been kind of meh. He doesn't speak English, so I can't really put him in many angles. And ultimately, the Black Demon project didn't really work the way I was hoping it would, and this will be his final appearance in the WAM. Now we've got a big match, Junior Heavyweight Championship match, and Elijah Mays finally comes out to defend his championship against Hermenegildo Ramirez. However, Hermenegildo Ramirez actually came through in the clutch this time. The man was able to deliver when it counted, show up when it matters the most. And Hermenegildo Ramirez has ended the championship reign of Elijah Mays. And honestly, it's well deserved for Hermenegildo Ramirez. He has been the top junior heavyweight for the better part of a year, if not longer than a year. But Elijah Mays, of course, he's got that popularity. He was on that big arc to chase the heavyweight championship. It ultimately didn't work out. When I needed Elijah Mays the most, he turned into the biggest diva that he possibly could. And Hermenegildo Ramirez got an in-ring performance of 54 here. Elijah Mays showing that maybe he really didn't have the stuff, getting an in-ring performance of 36. The boys have good chemistry and it really lifted the match, and I'm thankful for that. But in all honesty, this may be the last appearance that we see of Elijah Mays, not because it's our choice, but because the man gets furious anytime he takes a loss. And I understand the difference in popularity, but brother, get over yourself. You gotta lose at some point, and I'm sorry we don't have somebody who is also a world-renowned MMA fighter for you to lose to. But Hermenegildo Ramirez is the new junior heavyweight champion, and this might be the last time that we see Elijah Mays in the WAM as well. We've got a massive main event, heavyweight championship, Derby final. Neil Allman, Rahan Marlowe. And we see, not without some shenanigans, Neil Allman unseating Rahan Marlowe to become the new heavyweight champion. To once again become heavyweight champion. To once again win the Derby. Neil Allman becoming a 2-time heavyweight champion, 2-time Derby winner, putting his name up with the likes of Bronson Fraley. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Neil Allman is the first man ever to become a 2-time WAM heavyweight champion. We don't get the match rating we were hoping for. I was hoping for at least a 50, but Neil Allman had an in-ring performance of 44. Rahan Marlowe had a 49. We did have to keep him strong, so he wasn't unhappy with the way that this match was booked. I was unsure about doing that because our ratings rely so heavily on the main event, but I was still confident, and I think this will be good enough. This isn't groundbreaking or record-shattering or anything like that, but you can see here in this description that during the match we also had Super Monkey distract Rahan Marlowe. Now, Super Monkey was not coming out to distract Rahan Marlowe. Super Monkey was actually coming out to stop Neil Allman from his shenanigans. Neil Allman was really turning in to working as a heel in this match and taking every avenue that he could to get an upper hand on Rahan Marlowe. And Super Monkey, despite being the one who has helped Neil Allman in the past, who has kind of stood in the way of Turner Spittler screwing over Neil Allman, he does the same thing for Rahan Marlowe here. However, it doesn't exactly work out the way he was hoping for. He comes out to interrupt Neil Allman while he's like untying the turnbuckle or maybe grabbing the championship belt, something along those lines. He stops that. He is clearly in it for the right reasons as far as Super Monkey. However, when Rahan Marlow is able to collect himself, he sees Super Monkey ringside, he's aware of what has happened in the past, and Rahan Marlow becomes suspicious immediately, and he's telling Super Monkey to get out of here. Super Monkey's trying to explain, he's telling him to look behind him. Neil Allman's trying to do you dirty. But Rahan Marlow doesn't quite realize what's going on, and Neil Allman is able to shock Rahan Marlow, picking up a huge victory. The flying tackle does it again. New heavyweight champion, Neil Allman. Now let's check out how this show stacks up. We get an overall rating of 45. That is much better. We need something like that. I'm gonna take that every time. Our show increased in popularity in 2 regions. We did broadcast the show as well, but top to bottom, not bad, though you can definitely tell and feel the effects of the state of this backstage morale. Even though things weren't bad, this is a little, everyone was kind of underperforming across the board. Our pre-show matches weren't great, but in the main card, just about every match had pretty solid ratings, and I'm happy with it. So we're going to praise Rahan Marlow for a fantastic reign as heavyweight champion, and congratulate our new champions Neil Allman and Hermenegildo Ramirez. Financial report: with broadcasting the show, we gained $1,600. That's the place that we want to be, and it continues to give us a little bit more flexibility. Now, our popularity, we don't actually see a digit increase, but we do grow in Mid-South and Midwest. Black Demon is officially out of the Wham, and that's another troublemaker personality that will not be backstage any longer. Super Monkey's unsafe in the ring. Rahan Marlow says he's not happy about his involvement in his championship loss. And then Spectacle, okay, 1,640 viewers broadcasted, that's not bad. So that's going to do it for us here. We've created a new direction with our roster a little bit. We're still going to be assessing the negative personalities as we go. We probably got some really tough decisions to make, and I'm not exactly looking forward to it, but what I am looking forward to is the state of the Wham once we fix this morale. Things are looking up. We are still the 3rd biggest company in the world. And if I do say so myself, I think we've got some things going for us, despite the numerous things that are working against us. But that's going to do it for me here. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Drop a comment down below, because this series is so much more fun when you guys are a part of it, leaving some feedback and just giving your 2 cents. I love it. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.